Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another feature spotlight for Landis Contact Center. Today, we're going to talk about wallboards. Obviously, having live wallboards is a really important part for any contact center or help desk. You want to be able to see what your team's up to, what the workload is looking like. And so, we're going to show you today how Landis manages wallboards in Landis Contact Center for Teams. So, let's take a look. Starting here at my home screen, I'm on my dashboard. I'm going to navigate to the wallboard page here. You can create multiple wallboards, and we'll take a look at one of these. So here we can see a number of different cells kind of laid out, and you can really customize what your own wallboard looks like. Put the information that's important to you on it. Of course, look and feel, manage the colors and the logos and everything like that. Here we can see a list of the different queues that we have added to this wallboard, and we can see live activity, what's happening on these wallboards. We can see how many calls are in progress. This is, you don't need to refresh it. As calls filter in and out of these call queues, it'll automatically update the information that is displayed. You can even modify the cell threshold. So when let's say, calls in queue reaches a certain level, you can have that cell block turned to a different color to grab people's attention. So a few things that you'll see here is total number of calls in the queue, how many people are currently on the phone. We can also see things like what the longest wait time is currently in the call queue. We can also see some daily stats, such as number of abandoned calls. If we perhaps have a service level that we have assigned to this queue, we can see what percentage of calls have met that service level, handle times, and just total calls that the team has taken so far today. Now, as you can see, the wallboard that I'm looking at here is right within the Teams application, the contact center application inside of Teams. And you can give access to your agents and managers to see the wallboard here. But you can also pop this out to a separate window, or even put it on a display board if you have agents working from a central area. Put it on the display board so that anyone can see that activity at any time. As I mentioned earlier, it's really easy to modify the layout of the wallboards and what information is shown, so you can really dial it in to give your team the view that you want them to have, and configure it so it's going to be most helpful for them. Now, there's another wallboard that is a little bit more precise, and it's more designed for managers. And this is what we call the queue status board. Now, here we see at the top of our screen a little simplified wallboard. This is showing just basically the total calls in queue, how many calls are currently live, and how many agents we have signed in. Large number here, and how many total agents are assigned to that queue, small number. So as I toggle between these wallboards and highlight them, down below, it shows me a list of all the agents that I have that are assigned to that queue. And this is where managers can kind of keep track of their team. We can see who exactly is signed in, who's signed out. We can see the current status of ones that are signed in, who's on break, who's available. This also gives the manager the opportunity to add more people to the queue. So if you see down here some additional personnel, maybe I decide that this queue needs some more assistance, I can just hit a few toggle switches and add people to the queue, and so they start receiving calls. So it allows you to kind of direct traffic and manage the team if you need to. There's also another tab here to this wallboard, and that allows us to see all the current call activity that's taking place in that queue specifically. So we can see calls that are in progress, agents that are on the phone, calls that are alerting agents, and even excuse me, have our coaching tools here. If we decide we need to barge in, listen in, or whisper into a call, we can do all that from the queue status board. So again, this is typically designed for managers to, yes, keep track of what's happening live, but also keep track of your team and add members, remove members from the queue, and manage the queue activity there. That's all we're going to cover for today. There's a lot more, obviously, in terms of reports, both live and historic. You can see plenty more information at landistechnologies.com.